So I have completely forgotten that this place plays music everywhere. I'm gonna check the audio. La 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 la. Okay, the audio seems fine. Today we are filming my first ever on-screen episode of the Dear Me podcast in public and on screen. I was thinking of how I wanted to do this and like execute it, but I thought it'd be more fun to like come outside and film instead of like being at home and filming. And like each theme is going to be according to each episode, and this episode is about confidence. What better way to come and film an episode on theme in the middle of the mall? Like literally, if you're watching the video version, I am in the middle of the mall. Let's get into it. So today's topic is about confidence. You're gonna learn how to be that bitch, how to be that confident, how to not give a fuck, and how to respect yourself and have others respect you. I'm gonna teach you everything that you need to know today about that. I want you to take yourself out of your comfort zone. That's literally the number one step on how you're gonna get more confident. When you show your body that you can get yourself out of what you think is uncomfortable and what you put a limit on yourself, and prove to yourself that you can do hard things. Like when you can give yourself an out of body experience to do the things that you're not comfortable with, and like cap your limit and just be like, hey, like I can do this, like I don't care what you tell me. It's a thought. Like your limits and like your insecurities are in your thought. So when you prove it to yourself with an experience that that's not true, you just naturally get more confident. For example, it can be as simple as literally driving up to like a view by yourself for like 30 minutes and then like sitting there for like 5 minutes, even like just being with yourself. I love being by myself, but I used to hate it. Like I am like the biggest person who used to hate being alone. Anyways, if you don't like being by yourself and like it actually makes you uncomfortable and like you need people's validation and you need people to like feel safe all the time, just go take yourself on like a solo little date. And if you don't want to be seen in public by yourself for the first time ever, just take yourself on a drive, go somewhere, and then just chill in your car for a little bit. It breaks your limit because you're always like feeding yourself the narrative like, oh, like I can't do this, like I can never sit by myself, I can never, like I always need someone with me. But when you're telling your body, like you give yourself literally the out of experience, like you take yourself in your car, you're proving to yourself with actions that that limitation that you put on your belief is actually false, because you are like breaking each barrier down. And so each step always gets easier when you like show yourself that you can do the little things. It adds up to the biggest thing. Like for some of you guys, coming to the mall in the middle of the mall and just talking to a camera to film your podcast, that might be like the biggest fear. And honestly, like I was there too. It just like it didn't like take me like overnight to like get this confident. It's like took me years of building to do this and like not really give a fuck. And that was me showing to myself that like I don't need to prove myself to anyone else but me. And it's like everyone is in their own little world. Like these people I'm probably never gonna see again. Like people like walking by and like looking at me, what am I doing, what is she doing? No one really cares. It's just to them, it's literally just like a girl sitting in the middle of the thing talking to a camera. Like they'll look at you and they'll forget about you. So you have to like take that approach with everything. You're not very important in someone's lives. Like if they don't know you, they don't really care about you. They're just curious to see like what you're doing and like why you're being the way that you are. But like it just like gets out of their frame like right away. You're the only one thinking that much about yourself. Like, you know, when you go to a party and you just get drunk and you like make the biggest mistakes, like, and it might not even be that big, and like you're just like fuck and like beating yourself up for it. I promise you, like no one is thinking about you as much as you are thinking about yourself. They're probably thinking about the fuck ups that they had last night. So it's like it's kind of like that. That's how you want to like approach the world. It's your world and they're just living in it. This is my world. This is my reality. And this is the reality I'm creating for myself. These people walking by, they're just side characters. They're just like little pieces into my life. So I care about my world more than how I'm perceived in their world. So you have to put that narrative first. And when you get to see these people as like side characters, just like adding into your life, it just gets so much easier. I promise you, no one cares about you that much. So that's the approach I want you to have. To live the life that you want to live, you need to be a confident, selfish ass bitch. A confident, selfish ass bitch. So you have to have people respect you. And the way that you have people respect you is for you to respect yourself, for you to respect what you're doing, for you to respect who you are. That translates into the world. When you can love and respect yourself, people can see that and they're like, oh my god, she's so like, what is that word? Effortlessly her? Like, whatever. Like you exude a certain type of energy when you are just being unapologetically you. There we go. When you're being unapologetically you, you literally attract the things that you're supposed to attract. So it's like if someone sees you being unapologetically you and they're like, why is she trying so hard? Or like, I can never do that. I would never do that. Okay, great. Then those people are not meant to be in your life. So if you are just being authentically you, you attract the things that are vibrating on your same frequency. And I hope you know when you're listening to this podcast, I'm a very energy driven girl. So I talk about energy frequencies and like vibrating on a high frequency a lot. I'm letting you know, like a little disclaimer, that is a part of my personality and that is not going anywhere, okay? For you to respect yourself, you have to treat yourself with care. So like let's think about it. When you respect yourself, why do you respect them? Look at the characteristics that you respect and do you have that in you? I respect people who keep their promises. When I can learn something from them, I respect them. When I look at them, I'm like, ooh, cool. Like, what characteristics do I really like about them? Oh, and how can I adopt those characteristics so that I can respect myself even more? Am I doing the things that I told myself I'm going to do? Am I keeping promises to myself? Because if I'm constantly breaking promises with myself, what makes you think that I'm going to respect myself? I can't respect people who are constantly backing out on their words, using their words lightly, and like having a very like cheap mouth. I cannot respect that. And that's just an example. So I'm not going to have that because if I can't even respect people who are like that, what makes you think that I want to have those traits? When you're constantly looking for things to respect about others and what you really like in someone, try to adopt those traits if you don't have it already. And that's how you naturally build a respect for yourself, by putting yourself first. Be selfish with your life. Do not wait for you to tell your boundary to someone else. Like, let's say you meet a person, right? Make sure your boundaries are set in stone then and there. Do not be afraid to tell them your boundary. If someone crosses your boundary, correct them politely and be like, hey, like, this is what I don't appreciate. Because when you meet someone new, you're teaching them how to treat you. Like, they don't know anything about you. You're literally just a blank space, right? It's a whole new canvas. So you need to show the person that you're allowing this person in your life, like, how to treat you, how to talk to you, what boundaries you have, because they don't know anything. So the more you let time go without addressing your boundaries, the more they're gonna think like, oh, this person is okay with X, Y, and Z. And like you actually might not be, but because you never addressed it in the beginning because you were too scared that you were gonna offend them, they just like unknowingly cross your boundary. And you can't blame them in the end of the day because it's you who didn't voice your opinions, it's you who didn't voice your boundaries. It's all up to you. We're gonna go back to how your life is your reality and it's just how you create it. You have to love yourself so much to the point where it's like you're okay with disappointing someone, like you're okay with offending someone. If making your boundaries clear is offensive to someone, then they're not your person. If they're so caught up in the way that you attacked their character, I'm saying quote unquote attack their character because you voiced your boundary to them, then that they are not your person. A person that's your person, friendship, whatever, like relationship, they will respect that boundary that you have. And when you encounter people who respect your boundaries more, you're gonna think it's only normal for you to have people who respect your boundaries, which make your worth of yourself go up too. Because you voiced your opinion and they respected it, you're like, oh, this is normal. And the only way they did that is because you communicated that, right? So please do not be afraid to like voice your opinion on a certain matter. Like, I mean, don't be like the opinionated bitch who has just like everything to say about everything. Like, sometimes you have to shut up and like keep shit to yourself. And I also want to add that like, please do not let someone who does not have the desirable life that you want to live tell you how to live your present day life. So let's say like someone's giving you advice and someone's just giving you feedback because they genuinely care. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't let your core be shaken up because of what other people are saying. That's how you get more confidence. Like, you have to be so sure of what you want and who you are for outside voices to not get to you, because there is always going to be outside voices. Like, always there's going to be this person telling you to live this way, this person thinking that your opinion's not right. The more you are exposed to these opinions, the more you ask yourself, oh shit, like, am I wrong? So if you don't have a clear idea of what you think is right, you will be swayed very easily and you will just become a form of everyone else's opinion. At a certain point, you're just like adjusting yourself to these people's personalities. I'd rather have no friends than friends who want me to live in their perfect little world. So when you are setting your boundaries and these friends are not respecting your boundaries, you choose to stay because you think you need them in your life, then you are literally putting their values over yours, and you are just creating friends who don't even like want you around for you. Be okay with rejection. Rejection is redirection and sometimes God's protection. When you do not get what you want or where you thought you so willingly wanted, it's actually a way of life telling you that you were just not meant for it, and maybe you are meant for it, but you're going to go in a different path. Everything will make sense when you look back to it, so please do not take away from your worth just because you got rejected for a certain thing at that time. Like, you have to realize that everything in life is working out for you, and that even that rejection is supposed to teach you a lesson, it's supposed to build to your character development, it's supposed to take you to a different path that's going to be so much better. So when you let that rejection get in your head and like mess with you, and like you're like, I'm not enough, if I did this I would have gotten it. You did all that you can, so shut up, stop letting the overthinking, like your mind ruins you. If you can just rewire it to like thinking like, hey, like it wasn't meant for me, your outlook and your approach to everything else would just work out for you in the way that it is. When you put your rejection on top of you, you're subconsciously telling yourself that you are not worth enough and that you are not a whole as a person if you don't have the certain thing that you were rejected by. So it's like, no, you're already a whole as a person. Like, you didn't need this thing to be added into your life for you to be more valuable. And it's like, sometimes rejection does really suck when you work so hard for something and you don't get it. Of course you can dwell in the sadness of like why you didn't get it, but I'm saying like don't let it fuck with you. So there's this thing how you're going to rewire your brain. It's like there's a stimulus is like the thing that happens in your life, right? And people forget this middle part, which is mindset, and then there's your response. So usually people just skip to stimulus to response. Something happens in your life, you react. But when you're aware of the mindset that you have set up for yourself, like if your mindset subconsciously is a very positive place, then your response to life also becomes very positive. So it's like if you can fix the middle part, like your subconscious that makes you respond to negative things like that, then you can switch your whole life on how you view yourself and the world. When you don't put yourself at the center of the problem, not everything is about you. So take yourself out of the equation and fix that mindset. When you're allowing outside factors to like determine who you are as a person, you're always going to be in a place of lack, and life does not reward lack. And when you're always in a place of lack, that shows insecurity. Why do you need other factors to like add in to your life for you to become a whole person, for you to feel confident about yourself? Let go of the control and let life just happen for you. Like life is always happening for you, it's not happening against you. I'm saying take it as a learning lesson. Okay, why didn't I get this? What could I have done better? And if it's something that you cannot fix, then just accept it. Fully just accept it and be open to opportunities elsewhere. If you're always complaining about life and how nothing is working out for you, then like, I'm sorry to say, like, nothing is going to work out for you. Mean what you say and say what you mean. You don't need to try to entertain all the time. Like, you don't always need to fill the awkwardness in. Like, you know, when you like say stuff sometimes and you're like, why did I say a certain thing? Like, that it didn't even align with you. You're just saying it to clear the room or just like make it less awkward because there was like this awkward pause in this conversation and you just wanted to be the one to come and save it. You don't need to do that. Don't constantly try to be the one who like saves the conversation. Sometimes like the awkward gap is necessary. You don't always need to be the one to like put yourself out there and like try to do something with that situation. Like, it's not your job to fix. Please do not ever beg someone to be in your life. If they already see your value as this, do not try to convince them to make you see as this. It is such a waste of time. There's no way of convincing them to like you. There's no way of convincing them to like see this quality of you and this characteristic of you. As I'm editing this, I'm getting the inspo to add this in. You cannot ask someone to see of you what they didn't see in you before. Let's say you do convince your way in and then now they have you back and you have them back in your life again. They already wanted to leave in the beginning. You just like kind of convince them to stay. But you have to remember like the initial fact is that they wanted to leave. It doesn't mean that you're not enough. Remember, rejection is okay. It's like you have to see it as like, oh, it's your loss. You don't want me, it's your loss. Why are you begging someone to stay? Like, that is so pathetic. You are trying to convince and force them to love you. Where is that wanting love rooted in? It's rooted in fear. So get to the core of it. It's like, why do I want this person in my life? You fear that you can't find someone better. You fear that you're gonna lose all these memories with them. You fear of being alone. Like, what are you fearing? And that what are you not willing to give to yourself? Like, why are you so wanting this person in your your life. It's okay to want someone in your life, but only when they want you in their lives too. You always have to put in the same effort that they're putting in. If you see that this person that you love so dearly, it can be a friend, it can be a relationship, it can be whatever, is not putting in the same effort as you are constantly asking to hang out, you're constantly checking in, but it's not reciprocated. The unreciprocation is already an answer enough. It's like, oh yeah, I'll get to it, but they never get to it. That just shows where their priority is at, and the priority is not you. When you're like giving, and wanting to hang out and like are asking for them to care about you a little bit more, when in reality, what you can do is instead of asking for check-ins, instead of asking to hang out, just do nothing. With that time that you're asking for check-ins and asking to hang out, do something that feeds your soul. Ask yourself, oh, like, why do I want to hang out with this person so badly? Oh, it's because I have fun when I'm with this person. I feel safe when I'm with this person. How can I provide myself that without this person? Like, it's okay to want love. It's okay. We're human. We crave human intimacy. We love relationships. But relationships are the number one thing. So you should not have relationships that don't respect you and who don't want you. Like, do not ever beg for someone to stay. I have done it before with my friends. I have been in multiple friendships where I thought I needed them so badly. It's because I didn't love my relationship with myself. When you're always needing someone to stay and like wanting someone to stay, it's because you're lacking a certain type of security and safety within yourself. So you're seeking out from others. I know it's very hard to not take it personally and see it from the outside. It's going to take time for you to get to this point because it's taken me a long time to get to the point that where I am now. You have to see that person as just a person. Do not attach any of your experiences with them. Do not attach any of what you think you know about them to them. You have to see them as in the eye of someone who doesn't know them. Take their traits for what it is and accept their traits for who they are. This person, this outline of a soul with certain characteristics, and it simply just does not match with your soul characteristics. When you can see it in a very logical point of view without attaching all your feelings and like this and this and this, it gets easier to accept like why this person was not meant for you. It's like when I meet someone new, I immediately know if I'm going to click with that person or not. Sometimes it takes me a few minutes longer. Sometimes it only takes me like 30 seconds. But I know when I'm going to vibe with someone and I know when I'm not going to vibe with someone. If I don't want to vibe with you, it doesn't mean that I hate you. It doesn't mean that like you're any less of a human just because I don't want to vibe with you and like I don't want you in my life. It's truly because I see what you are as a person and who you are as a person. It's just me not wanting that type of person in my life. I think sometimes we're so focused on like me that you forget that like you want to be liked by everyone but you don't like everyone else. So, like what is it doesn't work like that. Let's say you meet a friend and this person isn't so jumping off the feet to like be friends with you as you are to them. Don't take it personally. Maybe they've already like decided that they don't want to be friends with you. It's fine. Like you don't need to be friends with everyone. Don't try to convince them to stay. It's like, you know, like a salesperson, like when you're shopping and they're constantly just following you around and they're like, do you need help with anything? Oh, like this is our newest collection. They take your phone number and they want to keep emailing you. Don't you get annoyed? Don't you unsubscribe? Don't you like delete their phone numbers? Like think of it like that. Like what makes you think someone is going to want to stay if you're constantly bombarding them like, hey, look at me, I'm a great friend. Hey, look at me, I can be this, I can be that. Like stop pitching yourself to people who don't want to be pitched to. See who you vibe with. When you allow yourself to go into rooms where you're wanted rather than where you're not, you will feel so much better about yourself. There are so many different types of people in this world. You are going to vibe with certain people, you're not going to vibe with certain people. But the more you try to accommodate to like every single human being, you are just gonna get so tired. Like you just have to accept the fact that like not everyone is going to like you, and that is completely okay. We're not designed to be liked by everyone. If now I'm kind of getting my flow. Stop striving to be perfect. You are never going to be perfect, okay? Never, ever. And the more that you try to wait for things to be perfect and wait for things to be perfect to like award yourself and like love yourself and like give yourself the life that you desire, when you're perfect, when this, no more whens, no more if I have this, no more when I have this. Just start giving it to yourself right now. I know it's like a rooted childhood thing. You felt like you needed to be a certain type of persona for you to be loved and to get attention, and like it all stems from childhood and like how we were raised. The reality is that we're not God. We're always going to make mistakes and we're always going to have flaws. So the more you strive for perfection, the more you set yourself up for failure, because you will always fail trying to be perfect. If you're always waiting for yourself to be nice to yourself, to be perfect, you will never be nice to yourself. And when you're never nice to yourself, you're always feeding yourself, I'm not enough. I am enough with conditions. No, you have to give yourself unconditional love for you to attract unconditional love. Like you cannot attract people who love you unconditionally, no matter who you are, no matter what you do. If you're constantly restricting your love to yourself, oh my god, I want to stress this so hard. Like, you cannot attract the love you want into your life if you are not giving the love that you have to yourself. What was I saying? When you're constantly putting restrictions to how you're going to get love, like, I am enough if I have this, I am enough if I'm this person, I am enough when, like, no, the more you do that, the more you will attract people who think of you like that. Oh, I only love her because of this, like this. I am enough if I get this job promotion. I am enough if I make X amount of money. Let's say you base your worth and your value and who you are as X, Y, and Z, everything I just listed. Without you even knowing, you're attracting people in the way that you are with the things that you have. And you're saying all these things because you think you can't get love unless you have X, Y, and Z. It is sad that, like, you think you can only get love in that way. It is an insecurity thing. Look at yourself inward and being like, oh, I'm a great person because I'm down to earth. I'm a great person because I have this personality trait. Like, what traits do you have that you can detach from the world? And when you love yourself unconditionally, when you can love yourself when you're not perfect, when you can love yourself without things that people would say is cool, that's when you can attract the better loves in your life. Always keep that in mind. Literally, be quirky, be delusional, be crazy, be whatever the fuck you want to be, okay? I'm just gonna keep it as that. Allow yourself to be and allow yourself to feel. Do not ever dwindle your light because you're afraid to fully express yourself. Fully express yourself, and these people are judging you, are simply in the wrong room. Don't think of it as like an attack to your character. Think of it as a redirection to finding your people. I also want to stress how important it is for you to rest and for you to know when you're feeling burnt out, and like not waiting for your body to break down for you to rest. We think we need to be constantly working for us to improve ourselves and for us to like get ourselves to the next destination. If we just take a rest, that we're going to like have a domino effect of how it's not going to work out for our lives. Like, trust me, I used to be there. It did nothing good for my mental health. And like, the more you delay your rest, the more you're delaying your self-care. Loving yourself and being fully confident and having people respect you is all about how you treat yourself. And basically, this whole podcast episode is just I'm telling you how you need to treat yourself and tips and tricks that I did to gain this confidence. Allowing yourself to rest. It sounds easy, but it's very hard for people who don't know how to rest. When you're starting to feel that your brain is overstimulated and it's like overthinking, and like the moment you open your computer, you just want to break down, that means you have surpassed the level of, you have to see, because everyone is different. Like, whatever limits I have for myself before getting burnt out is very going to be very different than like what the limits that you have for yourself. Maybe you can work a lot better under pressure than I can. Like, I do not like pressure. I want things to be done at my own time. I want to go with the flow, and I want it to be a very fun experience. For some people, they don't like that. So it's just like, you have to see what works for you and know when to take a rest, see your limits, and see when to stop when you need to. Find ways to do self-care. How do you show yourself that you love yourself? Do for me, like, I need to go to yoga, I need to work out, I love getting massages, I love like treating my soul, body, and mind. That is my number one thing to show myself that I love myself, and that is how I rest. Anything that's going to better my soul, body, and mind is priority for me, and that will never like be second to anything. That is how I show my self-care. And so find your own ways of self-care and apply that to your life little by little, because when you are not resting and you're not giving yourself to be in your feminine energy and like to refuel yourself, you are thinking that you have to work to prove to yourself. You are thinking that you cannot rest or something's going to be taken away from you. The world isn't created for you to struggle. The world is created for you to be in peace and like feminine energy. Like, you're supposed to have a childlike wonder going through life. It's not supposed to be this thing that's always coming to attack you. Please just understand that rest is part of the process, and rest is going to actually take you to where you want to be. You're resting, you allow thoughts to just like come to your head. Like, when you're resting, you get more creative, you have a lot more ideas, you have like awakenings in the place of rest. If you're always on the go, that means your mind is always filled. It's always getting feeded this thought and that's this thought. And when you're burnt out and when you're overworked, you don't even have the capacity to think like, is this thought like truly aligned with me, or is it just coming from an outside source that like that doesn't matter. When you're so burnt out and you hate life so much, you think that outside source opinion is literally your opinion. Life is not set up for you to hate it. So it's like, if you hate life, then you have to find ways to fall in love with it again. and dissect like what parts of life you're not loving and fix it. Start with one thing. I know it's very overwhelming to do like everything at once, so take one thing that you really resonate with and try to apply it to your life. Like, I know how fucking hard it is to like change your whole mindset and change your whole view when you feel like you can't. Like, but I'm telling you, start with the easiest task and you will get there. Trust me, I promise you. I was exactly where you were before. I hated it, and that's why I changed my life. I want to end it with like no more pity parties. One mistake does not make you who you are. So that pity party that you're throwing is because something in your life didn't happen the way that you wanted. That one thing does not shape your life. And I also want to say it also happens in the opposite end. One win doesn't shape your life either. So stay humble, fix your ego. Please do not let ego get in the way of your life. I feel like I went a little big sister mode on you. I went kind of serious on you towards the end, but that's truly because I've been in a place where I have been so like mean to myself. I've always wanted a big sister. I'm the oldest daughter in the family, so I have a younger brother, and like going through life, I've always wanted a big sister to keep me in check, give me the advice that I've been searching for, and like there's just like a lot of things that I would have talked to my big sister about. This is the way that I would have wanted my big sister to respond. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to know that it's coming from love. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I surely did. Like, this is so new to me. Like, I have never done this before, let alone like in the middle of the mall. This is actually my favorite mall. Amazing. Oh my gosh, guys, I just keep coming up with ideas to add on top. I'll see you in my next episode. I hope you guys have an amazing day, week, month, year, whatever. And yeah, bye. Mwah!